This Jeep is awesome. Hey everybody, welcome back to Crawl TV. Today is the long-awaited PRP seat installation video. It's taken me a long time to get around to this. I actually got started on it and then got sidetracked with other projects, but today we are going to get this thing moving and hopefully get it done. I already have one PRP seat mocked up, so I have kind of an idea what I'm doing here. Let's jump into it and I'll show you what I'm doing. So to catch you guys up on what we're doing today, I have these PRP Comp Elite seats that I bought for Rock Buggy back in 2021, and they've never actually found a home. So for the first time, they're gonna go into a vehicle permanently, and I'm really happy that it just happens to be the high school Jeep. So the plan for today is to build the seat brackets for these seats to get them mounted at the right height and as far back as we want them. And then I have this rock hard 4x4 harness bar that I need to install between the two bars on the factory roll bar here so that we can attach our harnesses to those. Once that's done, we'll get these 4.2 harnesses out. We'll attach the lap belts to the floor, get the harnesses attached to the harness bar, and that should be it. So I think the first thing that we should work on is getting this factory roll bar unbolted from the tub. That way we can get the harness bar in. This thing is wider than this, believe it or not. So this has to be pulled apart to get that bar in. Then we'll have to push this all back together, and we'll probably have to strap these feet back together to get these holes to line up once that bar is in. Ow, that was my elbow. Getting the rock hard 4x4 harness bar into this Jeep is not an easy task. And you can see how much I scraped up that roll bar, banging that piece up. This top piece should be level with this bottom piece here. That way the straps can come straight through. So I need to raise this up, whatever that difference is. With this seat propped up in this spot, we have a pretty decent layout, and I still have enough room to close a door. So that's where I'm gonna try and keep this seat. Right now the center console is just loose. I'm gonna mock up the driver's seat, and if I like where everything is, we'll get started on building seat brackets. I think that this is good to go where it's at, but for now, I'm glad that it's adjustable. I'm glad we got it at the right height. Now I can start working on this. So now comes the fun part. I bought 8 of these tabs, and I bought 2 for each side. So 4 of these tabs for lap belts. I think what I've decided to do is use this square tubing. I got 4 of these to cut and drill. So I've got 8 holes to drill and 4 pieces of metal to cut. And once I get that cut and drilled, I'll bolt them to the bottom of the seats, and then I will start measuring where my legs are gonna kick out, at what angle, and how long. Once I got these pieces cut, I drilled all 4 of them out, and you can see that the hole is slightly off center. And the reason I did that is so that I can get them flush with the tabs on the bottom of this seat. So I have this one bolted in just kind of by hand so that I could get a measurement on this. So I'm gonna cut 2 pieces, and I will weld those pieces in place here. And then once I do that, I can take just the bracket back over to the Jeep, and I can start working on the legs. I'll get 2 cross supports here. The suspension seat will still work. I think it should work. In our last video down at Ronco Trailers, somebody commented that flux core welding is not bad. And I totally agree. We're up here in the wood shop today on the ranch, and I'm using a flux core welder. The reason that I prefer MIG over flux core is it's just so much cleaner. Since we're doing such a small project, this is 16 gauge steel, flux core welds will be just fine for this, and we're gonna clean them up and paint them anyways, so nobody will ever know the difference except you guys. Steph has been weed whacking this morning, so she's got on her best outfit of the day. Dirty overalls. How does that feel?
This is perfect.
Okay.
You can see the hood. Yeah, can still reach this. Well, maybe not with the harnesses.
Yeah, not with the harnesses, but we can maybe make a new one. Actually, with the Genrite cage stanchions, I have to take this out anyways. So maybe we'll make some kind of handlebar grip or something that you can hold on to.
I can just hold on to myself.
Yeah, just something to keep your arms inside the Jeep for when it rolls over.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it.
Okay, good. All right. Well, that's one out of the way. I think for mine, I'm actually going to put the seat a little bit lower and a little bit farther back. But Steph's requirements were to be able to see over the hood. And that was basically it. Not a big ask. So with that bracket kind of mocked up for her, now we can move on to the driver bracket, which will be mocked up for me.
You did great.
Thank you. There are a few companies out there online where you can actually buy seat brackets for a CJ tub. As far as I know, the early YJs and the late CJs actually have the same seat brackets because they have a really similar tub. So if you find like a moto-built seat bracket, or I think there's some seat brackets for other seat manufacturers, not just PRP, you can actually find a bolt-in solution so you don't have to go through this. So a lot of people that are watching this, probably just watching it for entertainment purposes. You're not going to go out and weld a seat bracket together in a shop. Once I have this frame built, then I just have to figure out legs where I'm going to drop these down, because the tub has a bunch of different heights in it, and I want the seat bracket to be level for the most part, maybe slightly reclined, and I just want it left and right to be level, and I need it to bolt securely down, so I don't want one leg floating off the tub or anything like that. So now that we have this frame put together, I can go ahead and get started on figuring out what the legs are going to be, and then we can get that part out of the way. I think the hardest part about this whole project is figuring out where you want your seat height to be. You know, you jump into like a new vehicle, like my Ram truck here, and you just have electronic controllers. You're like, up, no, that's a little bit too high, I'm gonna go back down. And then you like back up, okay, no, now my feet don't touch, so maybe I come up a little bit again. But when you're welding something permanently together, you kind of have to know. And you get like one shot at this, or in Steph's seat, I actually cut the back legs back out and changed the height and then welded it back in. It's a lot more complicated than just hitting a switch. So I want to try and get it as close to accurate as I can. So we're going to take it over to the Jeep now, and I'm going to prop it up with some boards, try and get this thing level, and then I'll measure down to the floor and figure out where my tabs are going to be, because I think that's the best way to do it. This isn't a science, I'm not a fabricator, but this is my best shot. So we'll jump over on the Jeep and figure out the legs next. Okay, so I just finished this second bracket. I was gonna show you guys how I was building this, but then I realized I have no idea what I'm doing. So it took me a lot longer than it should have to build these seat brackets. I have one primed, one that was already primed and painted and is gonna get a second coat of paint. But while these are drying, let's jump over to the Jeep and I'll show you guys what's actually going on in the Jeep, because there are some things that are bolt-in options, and then there are some things that are just a nightmare of little tiny pieces of square tubing. So now that I have the seat brackets done, I know where the seats are going to be positioned. It's where I want them. Now I can work on getting that harness bar installed and then getting that roll bar reinstalled to the floor. I think this is going to be a really big challenge because I had to spread that harness bar so far apart. I'm going to have to squeeze those bars back together to get those bolt holes to line up. So there's a ton of tension on this rock hard 4x4 harness bar. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but with that harness bar providing so much outward pressure, it's really going to take a lot to suck those things back in. So let me show you what that looks like, and we'll get moving right along with the rest of the seat installation. Once we get that bar in place, we can work on harnesses and everything else. So I have everything out of the Jeep right now. I still have to get all of the right hardware. I've been just using kind of a mix of grade 5 hardware to figure out what my bolt lengths are going to be, bolt sizes, everything else, but I'm going to use grade 8 in everything that I'm doing here. I'll ratchet that bar to this bar and start ratcheting it down. Luckily, I can pull the center console out of the way, and we'll try and suck these things together. And if I can get this bolted in, we're in a good position to finish most of this stuff. Once these bolts are back in, you can take that strap off. I went ahead and I got this fully clamped on, installed, so it's quite secure now. And this is where our harnesses will be attaching. So it's important that we have grade 8s, that this is nice and secure, because our seats will go up against that and we will be strapped up against that pole. Now, tomorrow I need to run to the hardware store. I need to get 7/16 bolts. I have 2 of them. I need 2 more for these locations here. These are the locations where the lap belt harnesses are going to attach. And this is actually just the factory seatbelt locations. I'm not going to be messing with the seatbelt tie downs at all. I'm just going to be putting grade 8 hardware in. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll get started on those harness brackets and we'll get the seats and stuff in. Okay, we are at my local Ace Hardware, and I didn't write anything down when I was at the house. So I've been doing mental math on what I need for what locations all over the Jeep. So I think I have everything here. This is going to be $1 billion because I'm buying grade 8 hardware individually priced. But yeah, I hope this is everything. So let's check out. Well, we are back at home now, and I've already taken the time to put one of the seat brackets in with the grade 8 hardware. So we have the roll bar installed with grade 8 hardware, the seat brackets installed with grade 8 hardware, and I actually installed these lap belt harness tabs with grade 8 hardware as well. So with the driver's side done, we'll jump over to the passenger side. We'll get that side done as well. And that's kind of where I originally planned on starting this video, because all of this junk that I'm doing here is so unique to this Jeep. We got seat number 2 in and bolted down. We got the harnesses in. I'll have to wait for Steph to get home to see how that feels, but we can adjust that later. Now we need to move on to putting that center console in. Like I mentioned, it was improperly installed originally. They had one giant bolt, like a huge bolt through this little hole, and that was the only thing securing it to the pan. And we'll probably reuse this one if it lines up, but otherwise I want something with at least a 3/8 bolt. So I got these 3 bolts lined up. The 2 in the back are actually 3/8 by 6-inch bolts. They're really big. And then the one in the front, let's see if I can get this line back up. There we go. And the one in the front is just a 3/8 by 1 inch. It's just going straight through that hump in the front of the pan. So with these 3 bolts in place, I'll go ahead and get the nuts secured on the bottom side. And then this will be permanently installed here. I actually ended up moving the center console back about 1 inch from where it was installed before, but it was only installed with 1 bolt, and now it'll be secure. After having rolled more than 1 Jeep in my life, that does not make me a good driver, but it does make me an experienced driver. And I know for a fact, anything not secured to the floor of the Jeep will end up on the ceiling. So it's better to just bolt the stuff down. Well, it is the following day. Today, I'm going to take you guys on a test drive in the Jeep with the new seats. This is the first time that I get to feel it out with the new steering, without the body lift, with the bell crank replaced, all the upgrades that we've done to it. I haven't been able to drive it until now. So we're going to take it out in my own backyard here in the Cleveland National Forest, and we're going to put it through its paces in some rutty areas, some muddy areas. We're going to have to shift it into 4-low. We're going to have to use the lockouts and the hubs. And I really want to see how I feel strapped into the Jeep, and just basically how the Jeep does off-road. Things that I will be looking out for is comfortability, getting in and out. What are the things that I need to look out for? What are the things that I can reach, what I can't reach? And how do I feel once I'm strapped in as far as confidence? Because putting racing seats into a vehicle makes you more confident. I know that for a fact. So I want to see how it does. I want to see how the Jeep runs. I want to see how it does on inclines. This will be a great first test for the high school Jeep. Now, when Luke and Jack and Chris get out here with their Jeeps, we are all going to go up this trail together, and we're going to put all these 4 Jeeps through the same paces. So I get a little bit of a test run. I have the inside scoop since it is my backyard. But let's jump in the Jeep and we'll head out that way, and I'll try and grab some footage as we go. Here we go. So secure in these seats. Man, this is incredible. Basically turned a regular CJ7 into a rock bouncer just by adding seats that hold me in. Where I'm taking you guys next is a trail that Luke likes to call Rocky Ridge. And to explain how tough this trail is, it's a challenge on a dirt bike, but we're gonna give it a shot in the old Jeep. Oh, that's why. I was in fourth, or third, I mean. To go into some really ruddy sections. This is going to be tough. I think this Jeep can do it, and I think I can do it because of these seats. Let's give it a shot. Here we are, you guys. This is my favorite spot to come to. How amazing is it that this is something that I can access through a trail from my own backyard? Man, I'm just so fortunate, and sometimes coming up here reminds me of that. This is also the exact spot where I proposed to my wife, Stephanie. And so I have some great memories up here as well. The trail getting up here is really, really not easy. I don't know if I captured any of that on camera or not, but deep ruts, soft clay, off camber areas. The Jeep did great. I just feel so secure in those seats that I'm not uncomfortable getting off angle. And that's really going to be so valuable to me on the Rubicon Trail. This is exactly what this Jeep needed. It is so ready. The rear drive shaft is a problem. The front drive shaft is a problem, but I think that as far as TDS prep goes, I'm looking really good in the high school Jeep. So, man, I'm just really happy that all of this came together the way that it did. I'm super excited about it. Now, let's head back to the house. Same way we came up here, rock crawling. Man, this just feels good. no substitution for being strapped in. I feel like I could rock crawl the world right now. Funny story. When I first brought Steph out to the ranch for the first time, I took her on this trail in Dozer, and there was a huge washout from the rain that I didn't know about. And luckily, that Jeep had 39-inch tires, because one of the tires absolutely disappeared into the ground, and I almost rolled that Jeep into this creek. I got really lucky in a couple ways. Steph's pretty great too. Well, that was super fun, you guys. Thanks for coming along with me. Now that I have driven the Jeep off-road with the seats and everything else that we've done to this thing, I have some takeaways. Number one, I might see if I can figure out how to extend my emergency brake lever. The emergency brake is very useful because I like to get in and out of the vehicle a lot, but once I'm in the seat, I can't reach this lever. I've gotten really used to releasing the emergency brake before I put my shoulders into the harness, because it's the one thing I can't reach. The farthest I can reach is this shifter when it's in reverse, so that far forward. But under the dash is just a little bit too far for me. So that's takeaway number one. Number two, I like the fact that I have a tilt column. I can put the steering wheel all the way up, pull it down. It helps me get in and out because I'm able to put the steering wheel up all the way high. However, that doesn't fix everything. I think that I really need to get a removable steering wheel and maybe a slightly smaller steering wheel, because getting in and out, I hit the top of my thighs right above my knees a lot. And that's going to get annoying, especially on the Rubicon Trail, where I expect us to be getting in and out and spotting each other a lot. Beyond that, pretty sure my power steering pump is going out. So that's number three. It's got a real hard spot in it. And that's the kind of stuff that you want to know before you take it out on its first trip. So I'll look into that further, but that might be on the to-do list now for TDS. Number four, the Jeep did not want to stay running. It died a lot. So I'll figure out that idle situation. That could just be adjusting the carburetor. It did fine going up. Coming back down the trail, I found it was best to fire it up and not hit the gas, because that disengages the choke. But if I fired it up on the downhill and I didn't touch the gas pedal and I just kept the Jeep running so I could use power steering and power brakes, it did fine. But as soon as I had to shift into first gear and actually use the throttle, after that, the Jeep did not want to idle. So I'll figure that out. That could be an incline thing. It could be a jetting thing. It could be a whole bunch of stuff. But I'll start putting on my, New Balance shoes and get out my flathead screwdriver. And I'll be an old man tuning a carburetor for a while to try and figure that out. Beyond that, everything was awesome. I'm serious. This Jeep did so well. It really shocked me. I have the hood up just because I wanted to check all my fluids, see how everything did. I wanted to make sure I had power steering fluid in it still. It's fine. So don't worry about the hood being up. But I am super, super happy with these PRP seats. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you've watched this far, I hope that you've enjoyed the content. It was a little bit sporadic. I didn't show you the whole process of building the seat brackets or installing the seats, because it's going to be different in every vehicle. But really, I wanted to get this project done so that I could get this Jeep moving on its own again. And we accomplished that. We totally did it. So in the next video, we will continue the progress on this thing as we inch closer toward TDS. We're only a couple weeks away now. And I also want to share how the other Jeeps are doing with you guys. Luke is working hard on Cream Puff to get that front end rebuilt. Jack has stuff going on with the YJ, and we still have yet to unveil one vehicle. So plenty of stuff to come, you guys. And in the coming weeks, as we get near TDS, Chris will be out here for a week working on that Jeep once we unveil it. And we are going to be overflowing with content. So please stay tuned, and I will see you on the next video. Sorry I talked so long. Bye.